the city never seemed to sleep. By day it buzzed with traffic and business, and by night it glowed with neon lights. In one corner of this restless place lived a man whose presence often went unnoticed, a janitor, quietly sweeping floors and emptying bins long after everyone else had gone home. His back was bent with years of labor, his hands rough from endless scrubbing, but he bore it with silent pride because every coin he earned was for his daughter. The little girl was the light of his weary life. Though their apartment was small and worn, her laughter filled it with warmth. She understood the struggles her father faced and rarely asked for more than he could give. Instead, she cherished the little things, like the second-hand books a kind neighbor had lent her. Every night after finishing her chores, she sat near a flickering lamp, flipping through pages with wide, eager eyes. Her dreams stretched far beyond the narrow walls of their home. She wanted to study, to learn languages, to step into a world where she wasn't defined by poverty but by her determination. Her father often watched her silently from the doorway, pride and guilt battling in his chest. He longed to give her the opportunities she deserved but knew his salary as a cleaner barely kept food on the table. Still, she never complained. With hope burning quietly inside her, she believed life had something greater waiting, something neither of them could yet imagine. One chilly afternoon, the janitor brought his daughter along as he worked late in a towering office building. She sat quietly in a corner, sketching on scrap paper and humming softly to herself. The halls were nearly empty, the echo of her father's broom the only sound. Then suddenly, a sharp ring echoed through the polished room. It was a phone left on a sleek wooden desk. The girl hesitated at first. She wasn't supposed to touch anything, but the ringing wouldn't stop. With small, nervous fingers, she picked up the device and pressed it to her ear. "Hello," she whispered. On the other end, a deep voice spoke in Arabic, warm yet commanding. She couldn't understand the words, but she listened carefully. The man paused, then switched to broken English. "Business, deal, 866 million, he said, half to himself. The little girl blinked, unsure what such a number even meant. She responded politely, her voice trembling, "I'm sorry, sir. My father is not here. I don't understand." To her surprise, the caller laughed gently, charmed by her innocence. "Little one, you answer better than many," he said before hanging up. The girl placed the phone back on the desk, her heart pounding, afraid she had made a mistake. Just then, footsteps echoed behind her. She turned to see the owner of the office, the millionaire, watching her curiously. In that moment, she had no idea her small act of honesty was about to change both of their lives forever. The millionaire stepped closer, his polished shoes clicking against the marble floor, his sharp gaze fixed on the little girl still standing by his desk. She lowered her head, clutching her small hands together, afraid she might have done something terribly wrong. But instead of anger, his expression softened. "Did you answer my phone?" he asked gently. Her voice was barely above a whisper. "Yes, sir. It kept ringing. I didn't mean to. A kind man spoke, but I couldn't understand most of it. He said something about a big number." The millionaire raised his eyebrows. She hadn't tried to lie, not even a little. Most people in his world would have twisted words, tried to hide mistakes, or taken advantage of opportunities. Yet this child, dressed in worn shoes and patched clothes, chose honesty without hesitation. Something stirred inside him, something he hadn't felt in years. For all his business meetings, his million-dollar contracts, and the polished people who surrounded him, sincerity had become rare, almost extinct. And here it was, in the voice of a poor cleaner's daughter. He asked where she lived, what her dreams were. She hesitated, then admitted softly, "I want to go to school properly one day. I want to learn. My papa works so hard, but we can't afford it." The millionaire's throat tightened. Her words cut deeper than any negotiation ever had. For the first time in a long while, he wasn't thinking about profit, he was thinking about humanity. The office grew quiet, the hum of city lights faint beyond the glass walls. The millionaire leaned against his desk, studying the girl as if she were a mirror reflecting something he had long forgotten. "Tell me," he asked softly, "why did you answer the phone if it wasn't yours?" Her reply was simple, yet it struck him deeply. "Because it sounded important, and I didn't want the person to feel ignored." No calculation, no motive, just pure kindness. He felt a pang of shame. In his world, every action was driven by gain. Yet here was a child who thought first of others, even though she had nothing herself. He asked more questions, and she answered with the same innocence, about how her father worked as a cleaner, how she helped him after school, how sometimes she studied by candlelight because they couldn't always afford electricity. "Do you ever wish for something more?" he asked. She looked at him with steady eyes, too wise for her age. "I don't wish for riches, sir. Just a chance, to learn. If I can study, maybe I can help my papa one day." The millionaire's heart tightened. He had seen ambition, greed, and desperation, but never humility so powerful. He realized this moment was not chance, it was a test of who he was beyond his wealth. And for the first time in years, he felt the stirring of responsibility, not to a deal or a contract, but to a little girl whose honesty demanded kindness. The millionaire sat in silence for a long moment, his eyes fixed on the little girl who spoke with such honesty and dignity. Something inside him shifted, a weight he didn't even know he carried seemed to lift. At last, he smiled gently. "You have given me more tonight than you can imagine," he said. The girl tilted her head in confusion, but before she could respond, the office door opened and her father entered, tired and worried. He froze when he saw his daughter standing beside the powerful man whose office he cleaned. Apologies tumbled from his lips, but the millionaire raised a hand to stop him. "Your daughter is extraordinary," he said firmly. "She has reminded me what truly matters." He turned back to the little girl. "From today, you will have everything you need to study, books, tuition, even the best schools. And you," he added, looking at her father, "will not scrub these floors anymore. You'll have a better job, one that gives you dignity and time to spend with her." Tears filled the janitor's eyes as he clutched his daughter's shoulders. The girl stepped forward and wrapped her small arms around the millionaire, whispering, "Thank you, sir. You've changed our lives." In that embrace, the millionaire felt something no deal had ever given him, real joy. Wealth, he realized, was never meant to build walls of luxury but bridges of compassion. And that night, in the heart of the city, 3 lives were forever transformed by a simple act of kindness.